Dramatic opening. Did you know that sometimes the smallest, most relentless voices can make the biggest impact? This is the story of the persistent widow, and it will redefine how you think about faith and persistence. Stick with me, this one's a must-hear. Shifts tone to a narrative style. Picture this: a small, humble town in ancient Israel. The dusty streets are bustling with merchants, children playing, and daily life humming along. In the center of this scene, an aged widow makes her way, her determination obvious in every step she takes. She heads toward the gates of the town, where a judge is seated. Now, this widow has suffered an injustice. An adversary is trying to take what rightfully belongs to her. In biblical times, widows were often vulnerable and overlooked, considered among the least in society. But this widow, she wasn't one to give up. She wasn't about to let injustice stand. Suspenseful tone. The judge, on the other hand, is no man of empathy. He is described as someone who neither fears God nor cares what people think. This is not a man inclined to do good. This is someone who only acted when it served his own interests. And yet, this widow is relentless. Day after day, she comes to him. "Grant me justice against my adversary," she cries. The words echo through the courtyard, her voice unwavering. She repeats her plea again and again, unyielding in her pursuit of justice. Lighter tone. Now imagine the judge's initial reaction. A scoff, maybe a dismissive wave of his hand. At first, he ignores her completely. But the widow? She doesn't let that deter her. She persists. She visits him in the morning, at noon, and in the evening, her plea always the same. Dramatic pause. Days turn into weeks, and her determination doesn't falter. The more the judge tries to brush her off, the more resolved she becomes. Eventually, even the judge, that cold, selfish figure, begins to feel the weight of her persistence. "I don't fear God, nor do I respect people," the judge admits to himself. "But because this widow keeps bothering me, I'll grant her justice so that she won't eventually come back and attack me." Lively tone. And just like that, the widow's unyielding effort pays off. She receives the justice she so desperately sought. This seemingly insignificant woman, armed only with her tenacity, overcame the indifference of a man who cared for no one but himself. Reflective tone. This parable, told by Jesus, isn't just about an event that happened long ago. It's a powerful lesson for every one of us today. Jesus told this story to teach his followers about the importance of prayer and not giving up. He emphasized that if an unjust judge could eventually act in response to the persistence of a widow, how much more will God, who is just and loving, respond to the prayers of his people? Softer tone. Think about that for a moment. God isn't like the judge in this parable. He doesn't ignore us or dismiss our cries. His love is constant, his justice is perfect, and his timing is impeccable. But persistence on our part shows faith. It proves that we trust in his ability to act, even when the circumstances seem impossible. Encouraging tone. Maybe you've experienced seasons in your life where you've felt like giving up. Maybe you've prayed for something so long that you've started to wonder if God is even listening. The story of the persistent widow serves as an encouragement to keep going. Don't lose heart. Don't stop knocking at the door, because you never know when it might open. Final dramatic buildup. Here's the takeaway. Persistence fueled by faith can change your future. Sometimes the breakthrough you're praying for comes not because you have the perfect words or the perfect formula, but simply because you refuse to give up. Closure with hope. So, what's the challenge for today? Look at the areas of your life where you've been waiting, or even where you feel like giving up. Bring them back to God. Be like the widow. Be bold. Be relentless. And trust that the one you're crying out to is far more loving and just than any earthly judge. His answers may not come immediately, but rest assured, they will come, and they will be worth the wait. Remember the persistent widow whenever you feel like giving up. Keep your faith alive, and let your persistence speak louder than any silence. God hears you, and He's working, even when you don't see it. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Let's spread this powerful message of faith. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for another incredible story from the Bible. Until next time, may your faith be unshakable and your persistence unrivaled.